You're welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. It is still iBrand Daybreak, taking you to the focus for today. The Lagos State government has urged the public to disregard purported plans to conduct mass burial for casualties of the 2020 EndSARS incident, describing it as the handiwork of mischief makers. This came following reports making the rounds on social media of a purported mass burial plan for casualties of the 2020 EndSARS. In a statement on Sunday, the Permanent Secretary, Lagos State Ministry of Health, Dr. Olusegun Oboye, confirmed the authenticity of a leaked letter indicating planned mass burial for 103 corpses. He said, contrary to the narrative weaved around the recently approved mass burial, the EndSARS panel subpoenaed the Lagos State Chief Pathologist to produce full records of unclaimed bodies of dead deposited with the State Central Morgue during the days immediately preceding and following the event at Lekki Tollgate on October 20, 2020. And the statements, some parts of the statements reads, and I quote, the Lagos State Environmental Health Unit picked up the bodies in the aftermath of EndSARS violence and community clashes at Fagba, Ketu, Ikorodu, Orile, Ajegunle, Abuleba, Ikeja, Ojota, Ikoro, Oba, Isoro, and Ajah areas of Lagos State. There was also a jailbreak at Ikoyi prison. The 103 casualties mentioned in the document were from these incidents and not from Lekki Tollgate as being alleged. For the avoidance of doubt, nobody was retrieved from the Lekki Tollgate incident. After almost 3 years, the bodies remain unclaimed, adding to the congestion of the morgues. This spurred the need to decongest the morgues, a procedure that follows very careful medical and legal guidelines in the event that a relative may still turn up to claim a lost relative years after the incident. And that's the end of the quote. And of course, to join us to have this conversation this morning is a legal analyst, Ukoma Chukwuemeka Eze Maxwell. Good morning, you're welcome.
And thank you for having me this morning.
All right. This conversation, I think, has started over a couple of days now, and it has raised a lot of dust, especially on the mainstream media and on social media as well. A lot of people have perspectives to this story, schools of thought who believe that these bodies were, emanated from the October 20, 2020 EndSARS protest, while others, of course, have their own perspective to it. However, we want to know, what is the legal end to this conversation? Is it even legal, to have these kinds of things done? Is it legal to decongest and have mass burials without properly asking questions and consulting with probable family members or people who are supposed to be the official owners of these bodies, who take charge or take responsibility for them?
Okay, thank you very much. Now, your question whether it is legal to bury many bodies. It could be legal, or it is legal to bury bodies, but when we talk about the procedures, when we talk about the modalities to reach out to the families of these persons who are deemed to be dead, then it is an entire conversation altogether. Now, I don't want us to look at it as people having views from different school of thoughts. We are talking about 103 bodies that were victims of the EndSARS protest that happened either within the protest ground or around the protest ground. It's been 3 years, and it's unfortunate that this trauma continues to bedevil Nigeria. Now, let us be factual here. We saw a letter, and the letter was definitely not debunked. the contents of this letter said that 103 bodies of EndSARS victims are about to be buried. We saw their response or their reply to this letter and how it has created a lot of uproar in the polity today, that these are bodies that were picked up from different places. But then, when you pick up bodies from different places, what are the modalities to see that you reach out to the families of these bodies? Did they conduct proper search? Did they create proper publicity to see that the owners of these bodies come to claim them? So when you talk about the legality of the mass burial, that is not the issue. The issue is the circumstances and scenario surrounding this particular event. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Maxwell, before we go deeper into the issues that we're going to be discussing today, we're going to be looking at the legal angles to this. Unfortunately, we couldn't get in touch with Mr. Gboyega Akoseli, who is the Chief Press Secretary to the Lagos State Government, to give us his own perspective to this. I mean, to make it more balanced in our conversation. You might have to, unfortunately, take the fall for this, especially giving us the legal angles to this. Now, there are several questions, like my colleague said, that has been raising dust, especially with regards to who gave the order. Let's even start from there first. Now, looking at the command structure, you might correct me if I'm making any mistake about this. The Nigerian president, as we have it in the law, functions as the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. And by virtue of this, he superintends and also commands and controls the Ministry of Defense. Now, with that fact in mind, what would you say about who gave the order, especially with regards to see these operatives at that particular area on that day?
This is a question that has not been answered till today as we speak. Now, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is the Commander-in-Chief of the entire armed forces. And you would agree with me that the governor of a state is the chief security officer of the state. If there's anybody that, in fact, as we speak currently, if we are a same country, some persons would have been made to go through a legal process, a criminal trial, and they would have been imprisoned by now. In fact, for persons like Muhammadu Buhari, he is supposed to be before the International Criminal Court of Justice to answer cases that relate to, crimes against humanity, genocide against its own people, that we are wielding just the country's flag. If you are asking me who gave the order, I cannot tell. It could be that the president did not order it, but he is the commander-in-chief. Did he make modalities? Did he ask questions? Did he answer the million Nigerians who needed to know how people, citizens, young, vibrant citizens, lost their lives in one day? It was a fatal experience. It was a body sight to behold on any angle whatsoever. Now, the president is no longer here to answer the question. The government of Lagos State, in the person of the leadership there, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has equally not provided any reasonable answer whatsoever. The damning report that was released by the panel that was set up to review the cases that arose from this same EndSARS protest released over a 300 pages report. This report, nothing has been done about it. This report confirmed that indeed people died at the Lekki toll gate. And yet nothing is being done. We live in a country where people in leadership positions are no longer made to answer for it. We have the chief of defense staff. Nobody asked him any questions. He did not answer any question. He did not address the press on anything. We have other people who are in top military positions who could have given this order, but yet nothing. You saw the claims of the military there at the panel on their communications with the government of Lagos State and how they were called into Lagos State to come and take actions. How do you call in the military? As a government of Lagos State, you call in the military to come and operate in a peaceful protest. There is no proper orientation of these guys on how to relate with Nigerian citizens, especially when it is not violent. Of course, Chapter 4 of the Constitution is there with all the rights that are enshrined. For you to be able to protest, in fact, it is all encompassing of several rights. You need the right to life, you need the right to movement, you need the right to peaceful assembly, you need the right to freedom from discrimination or the dignity of your human person.